Ed Miliband as Chancellor, I mean, dream ticket, that might be some people's idea of a nightmare. So you're not a nest of singing birds, are you? You're a little nest of vipers, all vying. People are all vying to be Prime Minister because Keir Starmer's not doing very well and he's the least popular Prime Minister now in history.
So this is an absolute car crash of an interview. Labour's Lisa Nandy tries to sort of make out that everything's perfectly fine, but Camilla Tominey just tears into her with a nest of vipers comment, which is a pretty apt description of the state of Downing Street. With Keir Starmer's popularity at just rock bottom, I think at this point Venezuela's Maduro was more popular than Keir Starmer just before Trump black-bagged him and carted him off. Essentially, Labour are in just full panic mode permanently at the moment, but watch this interview and see what she does.
Hasn't the Prime Minister and indeed the Labour government slightly undermined their own argument when it comes to the self-determination of Greenlanders and indeed the Danes because you gave away the Chagos Islands? I mean, you didn't make that argument for Chagosians, so why should anyone believe it when the Prime Minister claims he wants to protect Greenlanders?
Well, what we did in the Chagos Islands was actually, in fairness, a continuation of what the previous Conservative government had been trying to do but not been able to manage with the Americans, which was to make sure that we cut a deal that enabled us to secure the future of the Chagos Islands as a strategic base and to ensure that our security is protected. That, in the end, is what lies behind all of the decisions that we make as a government, is what is in the interests of the British people. We don't think it's for a moment in the interests of the British people to allow a principle to be established where the future of a sovereign country is determined by the American administration or anybody else. We do think it's in our collective interest to work together to do as the Foreign Secretary was doing just this week over in Norway, increasing our presence there, making sure that we're doubling the number of Marines in the region and working with the Americans, with the Canadians and with our European counterparts to make sure that we deal with the threat of Russian aggression there.
OK, let's bring things back to domestic matters. Is another U-turn in the offing on jury trials and scrapping them? You've got one of your own MPs, Carl Turner, threatening to rebel. He says, in turn, there are two ministers in the cabinet who want to abstain on this vote. They don't believe in it. In fact, Turner himself has called for David Lammy's resignation as Justice Secretary over this. He's got a point, hasn't he? It wasn't in the manifesto.
All I would say to Carl and to others, and I've known Carl a long time and like him enormously, is that nobody else has put forward proposals about how you reform what is a broken justice system. You've got women who are awaiting the trial of perpetrators on rape charges, who are waiting for years and years, and essentially what that is doing is timing out the system so that the perpetrator knows they only have to wait it out. And victims will just give up because it's too hard and takes too long to get justice. That's the situation that people like Robert Jenrick left us with. And what we're trying to do is speed that up, never at the expense of proper justice, never at the expense of making sure we get the right outcome. But at the moment, justice delayed is justice denied for too many people. And we're not prepared to allow that to stand. If Carl Turner or others want to talk about alternatives to fixing our broken criminal justice system, we will listen. We're prepared to hear them, but so far not a single person across the political system has been prepared to grip this, and we are.
For any Labour MP to make out that they are concerned about assault when this time last year they were voting down an inquiry into the grooming gang scandal, it's just a complete joke.
All right, that looks as if you're opening the window slightly to a change of heart on it if evidence is presented that you could deal with this issue alternatively. Do you appreciate, I mean, your colleague, the Transport Secretary, doesn't seem to appreciate this, but maybe you do, that this government has been characterised by U-turn after U-turn after U-turn? I mean, Wes Streeting, who apparently is planning, not plotting, a leadership bid in the future against Keir Starmer, has said the policy should be get it right first time. You haven't got anything right first time.
Well, I don't accept that at all. I mean, if you look at the work that we're doing, not just in Wes's area on bringing down waiting lists, but on planning reform to get the houses built this country needs, in terms of setting up Great British Energy and bringing down people's energy bills. If you look at the work that we're rolling out around the country right now, we've been able to make sure that by making tough decisions, we're able to ensure that young people in every part of the country are going to be able to have access to youth clubs and youth workers, arts, culture, music, sport, dance, drama, all the things that working class kids used to have access to, but over the recent decades they can only now access if their parents can pay. Because we're working together, because we're getting it right, we're being able to make sure that those things happen and that people's lives get better. Do I think this has fixed the problem? No, I don't. Is there a lot more to do? Yes, there is. But I don't accept the idea that we can't get it right first time. Most of the time we are getting it right first time, and where we're not, it's because we're listening to people hitting the alarm bell, saying there are valid concerns about the way in which we're going about achieving our objectives. We listen and we change course. I think that's just being responsible and listening to the British people.
There have been 13 U-turns since Labour took power, but just on that line you just said about we're working together, is that credible then when yet again in the Sunday newspapers we've got reports of Wes Streeting briefing against Keir Starmer? Apparently there was this piece in the news statement saying that he was approached by Morgan McSweeney, asked if he was plotting. No, I'm not plotting, I'm planning, as any ambitious minister would. Then we've got talk of Andy Burnham wanting to come up with a dream ticket of him as Prime Minister, Ed Miliband as Chancellor. I mean, dream ticket, that might be some people's idea of a nightmare. So you're not a nest of singing birds, are you? You're a little nest of vipers, all vying. People are all vying to be Prime Minister because Keir Starmer's not doing very well and he's the least popular Prime Minister now in history.
Well, I don't agree with that. I mean, you wouldn't expect me to agree with that, but I won't lie to you. It is deeply, deeply frustrating. I opened the papers on, well, you don't open the papers anymore, do you? But I clicked on the app on Saturday with a feeling of just a sinking feeling, because the noise around all of this is really, really frustrating, and I don't want to dress it up for you. It frustrates the hell out of me. You've got people at the moment who have had 15 years of life just getting harder and harder, worrying whether the opportunities that they had will be on offer for their kids, and quite often over recent decades feeling that the answer is no, and we've got one shot to turn that around. I do think, though, to be really clear, I think that the Cabinet is working together really well. I think we're very close. We've known each other for quite some time, and there is nothing like being in opposition for 14 years and having a ringside seat to what is being done to your community to bring you together. So I'd say we're more of the singing birds.
All right, let's move on because I know time is tight. You talk about people having a front row seat for 15 years of Tory disaster, and yet you're denying 4 million of those people a vote in the local elections in May. Why are you doing that? If you look at the electoral maths, it's because, isn't it, Lisa Nandy, Labour faces losing the seats that is postponed the elections in to reform. So you've done this because you're running scared.
No, what we're doing is reorganising local government, and the reason that we're doing it is because a lot of people in the country right now have a really confusing two-tier system of councils, and we think that that's bad for the country. It means that it's not clear who's responsible for what. I mean, many people just wouldn't know who to go to when there was a problem. It means there's often a disagreement about how to sort out problems when they arise, and it's also very expensive. We think we can do better than that as a country. We think we can make it streamlined and much clearer, so that you have one council that you go to who's responsible for sorting out your local problems, and a government who sorts out your national problems. We don't think it makes sense to have loads of elections to positions that won't exist in just a few months or a few years' time.
4 million
so
people
we've asked councils
are going to be denied their democratic right to exercise a vote on this Labour government. Why shouldn't they exercise a vote on this Labour government almost 2 years into your administration? Just on a democratic point, I take it what you're saying about logistics, but you're denying people their democratic rights. And that's an aberration, isn't it, Lisa Nandy?
So, look, I absolutely believe in people's democratic right to express their view. And, you know, having been an MP for 14 years, lost most of those elections that we stood in and, you know, campaigned on the Remain side for Brexit and lost that as well. You'll know, Camilla, that I am a staunch defender of people's right to vote for things, even when I disagree with them. And if they do, I will go out and defend their right to do so and defend their right for that to be upheld. But we've been working, that's precisely why we've been working with local councils. And it's not just Labour councils who said we think this is a nonsense that will cost us too much money and waste time when we could just get on with reorganising and then holding elections. It's Tory and other councils as well. So we're asking councils to work with us. We're not imposing this from the centre, but we think it serves people better.
So what we've just watched, I mean, it looks like a government that's in a state of terminal decline. I mean, Lisa Nandy admits that she gets this sinking feeling every time she looks at the news, which, in fairness, we all do. So, you know, she's not alone. But there's supposed to be, you know, the adults in the room. And the cabinet, as Camilla points out, is more like a nest of vipers. You know, with Wes Streeting already plotting to get into number 10. They talk about unity, but the country's crumbling. I mean, they've made 13 U-turns, which I think is like record time. They've abandoned jury trials, surrendered sovereign territory in the Chagos Islands. This doesn't look like a government with a plan. It legitimately looks like a government with a death wish. This could genuinely be the last Labour government that ever gets elected. And the excuse for cancelling the local elections, they claim it's logistics, but we all know the truth. They are terrified of reform. They're denying 4 million people a democratic voice because they know that the red wall is going to disappear and it's going to become turquoise. I mean, they can't hide behind the BBC and their annoying little focus groups anymore. The people can clearly see the incompetence and, frankly, just utter disregard for British sovereignty. I mean, if this is getting it right first time, which is what she claims, I would hate to see what failure looks like by Lisa Nandy's definition. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. Perhaps you think I've been a little bit harsh. But if you could like, share, subscribe, that would be much appreciated. But until the next video, thanks for watching.